Hello and welcome. We're about to pull back the curtain on one of the most wild, high-stakes races in modern history. We're calling it the Great AI Scramble.
All right, let's just dive right in, shall we? Because what's happening in artificial intelligence right now is, well, it's so much bigger than just the latest app on your phone. I mean, think about it. You've probably already used an AI chatbot or a smart assistant today. But have you ever really stopped to think about the absolutely colossal machine that's got to work behind the scenes just to make that one simple interaction possible?
Yeah, because it's not just about writing some brilliant algorithms. What we are witnessing is a frantic, global, high-stakes competition for the fundamental building blocks of this entire revolution. We're talking about a scramble for
The smartest minds on the planet, billions upon billions in cash, mind-boggling amounts of electrical power, and of course the world's most advanced chips. You know, this isn't just another tech trend. This is a modern-day gold rush, and honestly, the stakes could not be higher.
So, let's start with the first and maybe the most critical resource of all, people, the human element. This is the war for talent, a real bare-knuckle battle for the brains behind all the code.
And nothing illustrates this battle better than what's happening inside one of the world's biggest companies. A report from Bloomberg Technology just put it so bluntly when talking about Apple's AI team. They said they've been bleeding talent since July. Wow, that is a brutal, brutal assessment.
And what's really wild is the sheer scale of this talent migration. You've got top executives, core team members all leaving Apple, a company that used to be the place to go. And why? Well, because competitors like Meta are dangling these absolutely staggering pay packages. We're talking about multi-year deals worth over $250 million. That's not just a salary bump. That's life-changing generational wealth being used as a weapon in this talent war. So while some folks at Apple are apparently calling their own AI efforts an embarrassment, Meta is just methodically building an absolute powerhouse. And that kind of concentration of talent, it creates this ripple effect that makes it incredibly tough for smaller startups or even universities to compete for the best people. But here's the thing. Having the smartest people in the room, well, it isn't enough. To build the future, you need fuel. And in the AI world, that fuel is capital. We're talking massive, eye-watering amounts of it. Just look at this number. $83 billion. That's the valuation for the AI startup Anthropic in just one recent funding round. That is more than the market cap of so many established, profitable companies you see every day. This is the kind of money you need just to get a seat at the table.
So the big question is, where on earth do you find that kind of cash? Well, as one reporter put it, the strategy for these AI firms is pretty simple. Need money, need compute. Make some friends across the Middle East. Right now, sovereign wealth funds are one of the only pools of capital big enough to write the kind of billion-dollar checks these AI companies, which, by the way, are still mostly unprofitable, really need.
But this hunt for capital comes with some really serious ethical strings attached. In a memo to his staff, Anthropic's CEO basically admitted to the trade-offs. He had to face the fact that taking this money meant their technology might not always help democracies. It could, in his words, even help dictators. This is the complicated new reality for AI leaders, trying to balance that desperate need for funding with some pretty profound ethical questions.
Okay, so let's see how this all connects. You've got the talent, you've got the money. Now, you need to plug it all in. And that brings us to what might be the most overlooked, but also the most physically demanding layer of this whole AI scramble: the thirst for raw electrical power.
And get ready for this number, because it is just staggering. OpenAI has said it needs 20 gigawatts of power to achieve its goals. To put that into perspective for you, that is enough electricity to power a small country. The energy demand here is, well, it's totally unprecedented.
And this isn't just some theory. Companies are spending absolute fortunes to lock down that power. Meta recently dropped over $500 million to build its 29th data center, this one in Texas. And we're not talking about server farms anymore. These are gigawatt-scale industrial projects, and they can't get them built fast enough. You know, CEO Nancy Tengler really nailed it. When you strip everything else away, the whole AI race really boils down to one simple thing. As she put it, it's about the power, stupid. This is the physical bottleneck. This is the hard reality that underpins all that digital magic.
Now, this intense scramble for talent, for capital, for power, it's not happening in a bubble. It's all playing out on a global chessboard, where technology, trade, and geopolitical tensions are all colliding in a pretty dangerous way.
So what we're seeing in the markets is this constant tug of war.
On one side, you have incredible confidence. TSMC, the most important chipmaker in the world, just hiked its sales outlook, citing this unbelievable demand for AI chips. But on the other side, you have intense geopolitical anxiety, escalating US-China trade tensions, threats of global chaos. It's all hanging over the entire supply chain.
And a huge piece of leverage for Beijing in all this is its total dominance over rare earth minerals. See, China doesn't just have most of the world's reserves, it totally controls the refining process. And these elements are essential for literally everything, from your smartphone to advanced military hardware. That gives China an incredibly powerful card to play in any trade dispute.
So, with all this hype, all this money flying around, and all this tension, it really brings all these threads together and leads us to the $1 trillion question that pretty much every investor, every executive, and every single one of us is asking right now.
To put it another way, are we actually witnessing a genuine, sustainable technological revolution? Or is this just the dot-com bubble all over again? A period of just crazy, irrational hype that's destined to pop?
Well, here's the thing. According to market analysts, there's some really fundamental differences this time around. Back in the day, the dot-com bubble was financed mostly by debt and pure speculation, fueling companies that had no real profits. Today's AI boom? It's being bankrolled by the cash from some of the most mature, profitable businesses on the planet. They have diversified ways of making money, and while valuations are definitely high, analysts argue they haven't quite reached those euphoric extremes we saw back in the late 90s.
So make no mistake about it, the AI revolution is very real. But it's not some clean digital process. It's a brutal, physical scramble for talent, capital, power, and chips. The biggest question isn't if this is going to change the world. It's when the music finally stops, who's going to be left standing, and who's going to be left in the dust.
Hey, if you enjoyed this explainer and found it helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.